Rock and roll runs on a myth that burning bright and burning out are the same thing. They're not. These are 10 legendary careers that addiction quietly ended. Here are the real stories behind them. Number 10. Scott Weiland, Stone Temple Pilots. Scott Weiland's voice carried Stone Temple Pilots to multi-platinum success in the 90s with songs like Plush and Interstate Love Song. But heroin addiction shadowed nearly the entire run. STP scrapped an entire 1996 tour, citing his inability to perform. He served jail time for a parole violation tied to drug possession, and the band eventually splintered in 2003 partly because of it. Weiland got a second act fronting the supergroup Velvet Revolver, formed by former Guns N' Roses members, another platinum album, another Grammy, before they fired him too in 2008, citing erratic onstage behavior. A patched-up STP reunion followed, and collapsed again in 2013 for the same reasons. On December 3, 2015, Weiland was found dead on his tour bus in Minnesota, at 48, from an accidental mix of cocaine, alcohol, and MDA. His ex-wife wrote an open letter afterward, asking fans not to romanticize what had happened to him, a request that, more than anything else in this list, cuts to the point. None of this was ever the cool part of rock and roll. It was just the tragedy underneath it. Number 9. Amy Winehouse.
Yes, I've been glad for when I come back.
In 2006, Amy Winehouse wrote Rehab in a matter of hours, almost word for word, transcribing a real conversation.
There's nothing you can teach.
Her management had urged her to get treatment for drinking. She'd asked her father whether she should, and, as the song famously recounts, the answer that came back was that she'd be fine without it. The song became her signature hit, reaching the US Top 10 and sweeping Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Female Pop Vocal at the 2008 Grammys. The irony never let up. Winehouse did eventually enter treatment more than once, but none of it stuck. On July 23, 2011, she was found dead in her London home from alcohol poisoning at 27, joining the same tragic age marker as Hendrix, Joplin, and Cobain before her. A song about refusing help became, retroactively, one of the most quoted warnings in modern pop music.
If you just learned something you never knew before, there is a whole lot more where that came from. Hit subscribe to The Rock Lens. Every single week, we go deeper into the real stories, secrets, and hidden history behind the music you have loved your whole life. The button is right there. One click. We will see you in the next one.
Number 8. John Bonham, Led Zeppelin. John Bonham's thunderous drumming on tracks like Kashmir and When the Levee Breaks is still cited as some of the most influential percussion in rock history. But by the end of the 1970s, his alcoholism had become a serious concern within the band. Heavy drinking on tour had become the norm rather than the exception. On September 24, 1980, during rehearsals for an upcoming tour, Bonham reportedly consumed a large amount of vodka over the course of the day before going to sleep. He was found dead the next afternoon, having choked in his sleep, a death directly tied to acute alcohol consumption. He was 32. Rather than replace him, the surviving members of Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, and John Paul Jones, announced just 2 months later that the band could not continue as we were, officially disbanding one of the biggest acts in rock history. Bonham's death didn't just end his own life, it ended the band outright. Number 7. Sid Vicious, the Sex Pistols. Sid Vicious was recruited into the Sex Pistols more for image than musicianship. By his own bandmates' admission, he could barely play bass. What he brought instead was a self-destructive intensity that came to define punk's darkest edge, fueled by a heroin addiction that escalated dramatically after he began a relationship with Nancy Spungen. The Sex Pistols effectively ended during their chaotic 1978 U.S. tour, partly buckling under Vicious's drug use. Months later, Spungen was found dead in the room they shared at New York's Chelsea Hotel, and Vicious was charged with her murder, a case that never went to trial. While free on bail in February 1979, Vicious died of a heroin overdose at 21 at a party held to celebrate his release. His haunting, deliberately off-key cover of My Way, filmed for the film The Great Rock and Roll Swindle, was released as a single after his death, and remains the performance most people associate with him, defiant, doomed, and gone within a year of the band's collapse. Number 6. Keith Moon, The Who. Keith Moon's drumming on My Generation and Baba O'Reilly helped define The Who's explosive sound, and his offstage chaos became just as legendary, driven by years of heavy drinking. By the late 1970s, his alcoholism had become severe enough that he was passing out mid-performance, and his own bandmates were quietly discussing whether he could continue touring at all. Trying to get sober, Moon had been prescribed heminevrin, a sedative specifically meant to ease alcohol withdrawal. On September 7, 1978, he took the drug in far more than the prescribed amount, as he'd always handled pills, in careless handfuls rather than measured doses. He died in his sleep at 32, with dozens of undissolved tablets still in his stomach. Here's the detail that's followed him ever since. 13 years earlier, a much younger Moon had sung the line, "Hope I Die Before I Get Old," on The Who's breakout single. He didn't die young by rock standards, but addiction still took him a full 4 decades before it should have. Number 5. Graham Parsons, The Byrds. Graham Parsons practically invented country rock as we know it. His fingerprints are all over the Byrds' Sweetheart of the Rodeo and the Flying Burrito Brothers' early records. But heroin and alcohol had a hold on him for years, and it cost him a spot in his own band. He was let go from the Burritos before their second album even came out, his drug use cited as a central reason. In September 1973, at a motel near Joshua Tree National Park, one of his favorite places on Earth, Parsons overdosed on morphine and alcohol at just 26. What happened next became rock folklore. Months earlier, at a friend's funeral, Parsons had made a pact with his road manager, Phil Kaufman, that whoever died first would be cremated in the desert, not buried in a formal service. And a gun that shoots tailgates. Kaufman took that promise seriously. He stole Parsons' coffin from Los Angeles Airport, drove it back to Joshua Tree, and set it on fire near a rock formation called Cap Rock. He was fined a few $100s for stealing the coffin. There was, at the time, no law against stealing a body. Parsons' real remains were eventually returned to his family. His posthumous album, Grievous Angel, released the following year, is now considered one of the most influential records in the genre he created. Number 4. Elvis Presley. By the mid-1970s, Elvis Presley wasn't battling street drugs. He was battling a stack of prescriptions, legally obtained through a compliant personal physician, for sedatives, painkillers, and stimulants, meant to get him on stage and then get him to sleep afterward. The king of rock and roll, who'd redefined American music in the 50s, spent his final years visibly bloated and unwell, collapsing on stage more than once, his once electric performances slowing into something his own band grew quietly worried about. On August 16, 1977, Presley was found dead in the bathroom of Graceland. The official cause was cardiac arrhythmia, but the autopsy toxicology later revealed more than a dozen different drugs in his system, the cumulative result of years of prescription dependency. He was 42. Elvis didn't die from a single reckless night. He died from a slow, medically enabled decline that took the most famous entertainer in the world down with it. Number 3. Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin's raw, howling voice on songs like Piece of My Heart made her one of the defining performers to come out of the San Francisco scene of the late 60s. Off stage, she battled heroin addiction for years, cycling through periods of sobriety and relapse, including a stretch clean that she was, by her own account and her friends, proud of. On October 4th, 1970, Joplin was found dead in a Los Angeles motel room from a heroin overdose, compounded by the alcohol she'd had that night, just over 2 weeks after Hendrix's death, and at the same age, 27. She was in the middle of recording what would become her most famous album, Pearl, released posthumously in 1971. Its lead single, Me and Bobby McGee, a song she never lived to hear on the radio, became her only #1 hit, climbing the charts after she was already gone. Number 2. Jimi Hendrix. By 1970, Jimi Hendrix had already rewritten what a guitar could do. Purple Haze, All Along the Watchtower, a Woodstock performance that became instant legend. But behind the innovation was chronic sleep deprivation, heavy drinking, and years of barbiturate use that friends and bandmates had quietly worried about for some time. He was, by most accounts, still creatively restless, sketching out new musical directions right up to the end. On September 18, 1970, in a London hotel room, Hendrix died after taking a German brand of sleeping pills, many more than the recommended dose, combined with wine, resulting in asphyxiation. He was 27. The world lost him at the exact moment he was reportedly trying to move past the guitar god persona entirely, planning to work with jazz musicians and expand his sound. Instead, Purple Haze and Voodoo Child became the closing statement of a career that ended after only 4 years in the spotlight. Number 1. Brian Jones, The Rolling Stones. Brian Jones didn't just join the Rolling Stones, he founded them. He placed the ad that assembled the band, named them after a Muddy Waters song, and in the early years was the group's clear leader. But as Mick Jagger and Keith Richards became the band's songwriting engine, Jones's role shrank, and his drinking and drug use grew to fill the gap. By 1969, he was, in his own bandmates' words, barely able to function in the studio. Producer sessions were recorded with his amp deliberately switched off. 2 drug convictions made it impossible for Jones to get a U.S. work visa for an upcoming tour, the final straw. On June 8, 1969, Jagger, Richards, and Charlie Watts drove to his home and told him the band he'd built was continuing without him. Less than a month later, on July 3rd, Jones was found at the bottom of his swimming pool. The coroner's report cited death by misadventure, noting his liver and heart were both dramatically enlarged from years of substance abuse. He was 27 years old, the first and most influential name in what would later be called the 27 Club.